We are back. I am your host, Dave, 10-year intellectual property attorney, dealing with everything from patents, copyrights, trade secrets, as well as trademarks. And we have a pretty good one today out of the hockey world. And this is actually, unfortunately, going to be a good illustration of why you should make sure you're trademarking this stuff at the beginning. A lot of people come up to me, whether it's trademarks, whether it's patents, and say, hey, man, IP is not that important to get early on. You should kind of focus on the business, focus on the product, and then you can kind of worry about the IP stuff later. And I always disagree with this time and time again. And I would imagine that this Utah Hockey Club would agree with me on this for the reasons that we're going to show when we pull up the article and go through it. So matter of fact, let's kind of get through it right now. Some housekeeping items. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, to be a part of the IP community. I would love to have you a part of the IP community. And again, I'm interested in knowing from you guys on this one, your comments in the comment section. So definitely, as we're kind of reading this, please leave your comments below. So the Yeti is dead. Utah NHL team vote down to 3 names. So just to kind of give you some context, and I didn't even know they had a hockey team in Utah, but apparently, I'm not sure if this is a new hockey team or this kind of hockey team has been around for a while. I would imagine that this has to be a new one. But this Utah Hockey Club, they were looking to get a name trademark, the Utah Yeti. However, it is another company that has the hockey club, the name Yeti trademark for clothing and apparel and things like that, which again affects this hockey club. The hockey club is because part of having a sports team is being able to sell merchandise. And if you can't use the word Yeti on your merchandise, then pretty much are going to miss out on a ton of sales from the merchandise. So again, this, like I said, illustrates my point of making sure your name is trademarked first, and then kind of being able to figure out the business. Because if they would have did this first, they would have found out that they wouldn't have been able to trademark it, and therefore they could have focused their energy on a different name. Now, look at, they're choosing between the Mammoth. I'm assuming that's based off Willie Mammoth, the Utah Hockey Club, which I think is a pretty basic name, and a Wasatch, which I'm not sure what a Wasatch is. Sounds like a Sasquatch, an animal. Let me see. What is a Wasatch? A Wasatch is a word, a mountain range, a county in Utah, and an investment firm. So it seems like the Wasatch is a county in Utah. It's an investment firm, and then it's a mountain range. So again, those are the names that this Utah NHL hockey team is down to: the Mammoth, the Hockey Club, and Wasatch, which I think these are definitely basic names. And again, this article is fresh off the press from KSL.com. Shout out to them, which is today, January 29th. So the next step, or the Utah Yeti is dead. The next step to finding the Utah Hockey Club's permanent name will begin Wednesday night at the Delta Center, when a fan survey between the final three names, which we just showed above: the Utah Hockey Club, the Utah Mammoth, and the Utah Wasatch. Man, that's a terrible name. Wait, what? Yep, a new name, Wasatch, has emerged as things reach the top 3, along with a pretty glaring omission. The perceived favorite, the Yeti seems pretty interesting, is out as an option, though not necessarily by the team's choice. At the end of the day, Yeti coolers, I'm not sure what the Yeti coolers are. Matter of fact, we can kind of look at this. The Yeti cooler seems like it's a clothing company. Let's see here. So this is the Yeti coolers. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second to pull up the Yeti coolers. This was preventing the Utah Hockey Club from actually getting a trademark on the name Yeti. A cooler company. Seems like they also have a trademark, not necessarily just on the name Yeti, for coolers, but also for clothing. So this is the cooler company that has a trademark for at least coolers, which I would imagine is a different class from Yeti. But they also seem to have a trademark for clothing. Let's see, do they even sell clothing on a website? I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Let's get back to the article here. It seems like that's the cooler company is preventing the Utah Yetis or the Utah NHL team from getting a trademark. Let's continue on. At the end of the day, Yeti coolers, I'm assuming that's what we just looked at, has a trademark that allows them to print Yeti or Yetis on clothing and other licensed merchandise. Without a coexistence agreement, we would not be able to print that. Smith Entertainment Group executive said. So again, a couple of things of mine out here. Number one, just because you're a cooler company, however you're using the name, you can get trademark protection on it. You just have to let USPTO know that you're using it in that particular class. So coolers is a separate class from clothing. Heck, if they're trying to use this thing on like coffee mugs and things like that, that's a separate class that they can get the term Yeti trademarked in. It seems like the cooler company has at least the term Yeti trademarked with coolers and apparel. And another thing that I guess the article had pointed out, a coexistence agreement is an agreement where the USPTO, look at when you file a trademark application, the examiner at the USPTO is saying, hey, it's a likelihood of confusion to the extent that there is, or he or she thinks so. They're going to say it's a likelihood of confusion between your word, Mr. Applicant, and this other trademark term that's already out there. However, you can actually call up that company that already has a trademark and enter into a coexistence agreement to the extent that that company agrees to say, hey, there's no likelihood of confusion. If the company is saying, hey, I'm cool with you using a name and we use the name and we can both coexist, hence the term coexistence agreement. You can do that. I actually had a client a while back on here in Michigan, this term crack chicken. I'm not sure if that's a popular name in other states, but the term crack chicken is still a popular thing. And it's essentially lemon pepper seasoning on fried chicken wings. And my client had the term trademark, which he tried to trademark the term himself. And even though he got a trademark, he kind of left some holes open for somebody to come after his trademark and challenge his trademark. And there was another company that was trying to, maybe it was crack chicken or chicken crack, or it was some similar name, but the USPTO cited my client's trademark against the other company, saying, hey, it's a likelihood of confusion. So he essentially tried to petition to cancel our guy's mark from like a formality, but ultimately we was able to enter into a coexistence agreement to say, hey, we allow you to use your term that you're trying to get trademarked, and we can use our essentially term that we have trademarked, and it's no harm, no foul. So that was a coexistence agreement, which again, a lot of people don't know about that. It's something that you can't enter into so that otherwise confusing mark, according to the examiner at the USPTO, can coexist in a marketplace. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed that or got something out of that. Let's get back to the article here. It's a coexistence agreement, so it seems like that's kind of explaining the coexistence agreements. Is a deal struck by the two companies allowing each to use the name, but both sides will have to say yes to such a deal, and the cooler company denied. So it seems like Yeti Coolers and said, man, forget that. We not entering into no coexistence agreement. They made a determination that for the sake of their brand, they didn't want to enter into a coexistence agreement. So again, which is one of the things where you don't want to rely on the other party entering into a coexistence agreement, because you are at their mercy at that point for them to say yes or no. So the best part about this is, or the better part about this is, just make sure you're picking a name from the beginning that you can get trademark protection in based on you doing a search and things like that. That's going to be your best bet. Let's continue on here. So McGann said the team engaged with the Yeti Coolers extensively, and the NHL even tried to help tip the scales. But Yeti ultimately wanted to protect his own trademarks. You can't fault anyone or a company for protecting their trademarks. At the end of the day, they have a trademark that allows them to print Yeti or Yetis on clothing and other licensed merchandise. Without a coexistence agreement, we would not be able to print that. So with that, the team had to move on from that name. It has topped many lists since SCG announced it was picking a name via fan vote. We went through a great process. The name came from fans. We talked with them at length. The NHL weighed in. At the end of the day, it was their decision. But the team still wanted to honor the Yeti name for the next round of voting. And that's where Wasatch, whatever. So it seems like that's pretty much it, man. Like I said, I'm not that big on the hockey. Obviously, I know some of the more popular teams, the Avalanche, Colorado Avalanche, Detroit Red Wings, obviously being here in Michigan. I think Tampa Bay, is it Lightning down in Tampa? And some other kind of more popular names. I didn't realize, again, that they had a hockey team in Utah. So you guys have to let me know in the comment section, has this hockey team been around for a long time? If so, why are they changing their name? That's kind of interesting. But again, it seems like if they would have kind of did a search at the beginning, they would have knew that the term Yeti probably wasn't going to fly, given Yeti Coolers a trademark in it for the clothing category. There's probably going to be a likelihood of confusion, as it ended up turning out to be. Again, hopefully this is a learning lesson for you all. Make sure you're picking a company name, when you're picking a product name, it can be trademarked from the beginning, and make sure you file for trademark protection on it from the beginning. Make sure you do a search to make sure that nobody else is using it. And hopefully you guys go on to protect your trademarks and your IP and make a lot of money off of it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you did, as well as hit the subscribe button to be a part of the IP community. I would love to have you a part of the community where we talk about current events such as Yeti and trademark opposition and NHL hockey team. I know we had just did a video on Pat Riley having a trademark on the term 3-peat since 88, 89, and is going to be cheering for Patrick Mahomes so that he can get paid a ton of money on being able to kind of license that merchandise or license the trademark to people trying to create merchandise from it. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, you guys take care. Peace.